Do you think it's partially like a superhero mentality type of thing
Probably,
where,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah?
Well, I think deep down, every man wants to be a superhero.
Do you think that that can prevent people from sharing because it almost appears as a weakness?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think guys are going to do that more often. They're not going to tell you
Mhm.
their feelings. But yeah, we definitely want to be superheroes.
Hey friends, my name is Kelly, mom of two, and the host of Oh Baby I Had No Idea, the #1 new podcast for parents. Today we are joined by David, aka Not Perfect Dad. In case you missed the last episode, David is from Wisconsin. He and his wife have 4 kids, aged 8, 6, 5, and 4. So previously we went through his I had no idea moments throughout parenthood, and they were so good. Go back and listen if you haven't already. And today we're going to be talking about the silent struggles of a dad. This conversation was actually inspired by one of the reels that he did that actually ended up going viral on social media. So I'm very excited to get into this topic. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, welcome back, David. We have a lot to get through on this episode, so we're just going to dive right in. So, on the last episode, you had mentioned that becoming a dad obviously was harder than you thought it would be. So, I'm just curious about your expectations and where that stemmed from.
Okay. So honestly, I think that my expectations of a dad came from two things. My dad, and then probably TV.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
That's a good question. First person that came to mind was like Tony Stark from
Ah,
the Avengers.
yeah.
I mean, he's got that really cool line with his girl, and she's like, "I love you 3,000," and that
Oh,
kind of, she just made up a number of how much she could love him, and three
oh,
thousand was the biggest number she could come up with. But my expectations were my dad
hmm,
and TV dads. I've come to know like other versions of dads that weren't so great, and I was like, I feel really grateful for what I had.
yeah. Okay, so you looked up to your dad?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I do.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
look up to your dad. Did you talk to your dad about his experiences raising you guys? Was that like a conversation you had?
absolutely not. Nope.
No?
No, I don't think I had that type of relationship with my dad, but I think like maybe my kids are. I think I'm already developing that relationship with my kids. Maybe, I don't know.
Mhm.
Hopefully,
Do you think that had you had that conversation with your dad, do you think that it would have made things a little bit easier or less surprising, I guess?
yes.
Yeah.
However, he deserves a lot of credit because
Mhm.
like once I started having kids, it would always come out like this reminds me so much of you,
Mm.
and as my kids get older, that I just resemble them so much that it's like they're seeing their children again, and that brings out stories and
Mm.
memories that they just freely give, and
Mhm.
that's a fun, it's a fun journey.
Yeah. I wonder if some of it is like, you kind of forget as you get older.
Sure, yeah,
So like even if you're not trying to be like keep it in, it just kind of in a way it does because all you remember are the like good times.
yeah.
So just
That makes a
random
lot of
thought.
sense. No, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
All right. So in the last episode you mentioned how you struggle with your kids' emotions and just managing your own emotions to your kids' emotions. And I can very much relate to that. So what are some ways that you've found helpful to manage your own emotions?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that because there's a couple things, but the biggest way I can manage my own emotions is having my wife there. Because I don't know how we do it, but if one of us is up here and we're struggling, the other one of us is always down here and we're there and we can handle it. And without saying anything to each other, it can switch. And like this could be a 10-minute difference.
Yeah. You just tag out.
Yeah, but like we don't even. yeah, it's funny. Like we don't even take out like some. Okay, what?
Right.
Sometimes we say if we're in a bad spot, we go, hey, I'm gonna go upstairs. I need a couple minutes to myself,
Hmm.
and that does wonders. You come back reset, and you don't always come back reset, but you come back better. Um,
Right.
but having her there, I think it's just ingrained in parenting or being parents that one of us is stressing out and one of us is calm, and we just do it together. So another thing that I've done, and I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but instead of getting so stressed out and so overwhelmed, I just mentally check out. And
Mm.
like, so instead of being so upset that I lose my temper or lose control of what I'm going to say, I decide to just let the kid kind of be naughty for a little bit.
Hmm.
But it's better than me like traumatizing him with my anger or something like that. I don't know. Like
Totally. Yeah.
that's what I think of it at least.
Yeah. That was like yesterday. Like I was supposed to be putting my youngest down for a nap, and they were just like running around in circles. I'm like, I do not have the energy to deal with this right now. I'm just gonna let it happen.
Yeah.
Just gonna walk away.
Sometimes
You
if you do
know.
doing nothing is better than being out of control or overwhelmed or
Right. Yeah,
for
because like
sure.
I knew if I was in that moment and I had to wrangle them and I just like was not in the right space to do so, you know,
Yeah,
it's
100%.
just not as good. So just taking that time. I love that.
I wish I could say I go to the gym and work out, but I don't even do that. I need
It's
to do that.
hard.
Oh gosh.
Finding the time is
Oh,
ridiculously hard. Did you used to go to the gym a lot
nope.
back in the day or no?
I
Okay.
college,
Yeah,
yes,
sure, sure.
and after that for a while, but
Mhm.
yeah.
If you like this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you get more videos like this in the future. So, on social media, you constantly hear about mom guilt. It's like a big topic, it's everywhere, right? And one of your reels was about parent guilt. So, what are some of the things that you have felt or dealt with as far when it comes to parent guilt? Or do
Right.
you have that?
Absolutely, I have that.
Yeah.
So, I think you know what, now that you said it like that, like, I feel like I probably watched a video and
Hmm.
it was probably geared towards mom guilt, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I that 1,000% I feel that all the time."
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not all the time, but I feel that, like,
Yeah.
but you just want so badly to be the best for your child and your children.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, like, okay. So, the simplest example is they spill their cup of milk or juice at the dinner table, and how you react to that just sets the tone for the next hour or maybe 30 minutes, but because kids bounce back so fast, thankfully
Yeah.
they forgive us so quickly. But I've done it where I had like the most disappointed look on my face, or I yelled at him like, "Not again," or I immediately go, "That's okay. It was an accident." Because it was. They're not trying to do it. But like
Right.
that's a simple example of how you can lose control and immediately feel guilty about your actions. And when you yell at them, I feel so bad.
Right.
Especially if it's like not necessary. You're stressed about work or you're stressed about things going on in your life, and then the milk spills and you just take all your stuff out on that kid. It sucks. And there's bigger examples than that. Like that's just milk, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's the times when they're having tantrums and meltdowns, and when your kids are older, you think that you should be done with that. You should be
Right.
done with that, and you kind of tell them like this is not like you shouldn't be doing this anymore. But you know what? They're still growing and they're still learning and they're still coming into their life, and they don't understand how to handle it. And it's up to you to be in control of that situation. And when you don't, that parent guilt
Yeah,
will
like
get you so
guilt.
much. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So moms, dads feel it too. It's not just us.
Oh yes.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the reel that you did. That's the way that I found you actually, this viral reel. And so for those of you that haven't seen it, like your video is, how do you know a dad is struggling? Like you don't. it did strike a chord, it struck a it struck a chord for me too because my husband has also gone through struggles as well, and it's not something that I always recognized, and it's not like that I wasn't compassionate about it or that I didn't care, it's just kind of when you're in that almost like survival mode or drowning mode, it's hard to sometimes think about the other person involved. And that's kind of where I fell into it. He also is not the most open with that kind of stuff. So it was hard to, even if I wanted to pull that out, it was very silent. But it seems like your page and your reels have been kind of a safe place for dads, moms, all of us to have those conversations about the struggles and specifically the struggles of dads and how sometimes they're silent. So obviously you're speaking out now and through these reels and everything. Have you kind of always been that way? Have you been inspired by others that you've seen? Or have you felt in the past that pressure to be quiet and to not speak up about certain things? That was a lot. So if you need me to
There's a
repeat.
lot of questions there. Yeah. So I chose that reel. I saw a reel like that on social media, and it resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made my version of it, which is very similar to the original version, but with me and my family. And the amount of people that it reached was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. Like so many dads have reached out to me and just wanted to talk or wanted to say thank you. That's
Yeah.
it. Like that's all they want to say. And it's been really cool. I think as a man, as a guy, we don't feel like we need to talk about our feelings. And I don't know, is that cliche? Because like if we just feel like, that's a girl thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not trying to hide my feelings. I just don't talk about them. And a lot of my feelings, I just don't think, I guess I don't think people really care to know. But at least that's how I feel about that reel. I guess there's an idea there behind that video is that being a dad is so much more than what meets the eye.
Right.
Moms 100% deserve so much credit, but us dads feel a little bit like we also carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And whether or not you agree with that, between who carries more weight, I mean, it shouldn't be a question. It should be equal. Like you guys are doing it together. You're creating
Right.
a family together. It's a tough one. It's a tough question. It's a tough topic.
Yeah.
It
It
really is.
is.
Like I really like my next reel that's coming out tomorrow. So the next reel is all the thoughts that can bother a dad or a man in a daily life. And you're gonna hear someone trying to say, "Hey, Dave, are you okay?" And what the reel is supposed to tell you is that it's for guys.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to always talk about our feelings. We need our guy time, or we need someone just to ask. And
Yeah.
if you ask, that just makes us feel so much better
Like ask from the partner, from the support person type, whatever.
from your partner or from your
Mm-hmm.
buddy, anybody,
Okay.
and like we might not want to talk about it, but if we do, we'll talk about it. But if we
Mm-hmm.
don't, the gesture goes a long way. And then
Okay. That's good to know.
that's why we might not talk about our feelings so much. We just hang out with our friends, our guy friends. We get that guy time, and none of us are talking about our feelings. We're just hanging out
Right.
and we're just letting the stress of our lives melt away.
So you feel like sometimes not talking about it like helps then? Or do
No,
you think
no,
that
no.
No. Okay.
Not talking about it is our way of dealing with it. And the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that makes that better is someone asking
Mm.
how we're doing, or that guy time where you can just forget about your worries.
So as a mom or partner or whatever, being like, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Just at least opening up that door to
Right.
talk about things if you want to.
90% of the time, he's going to say, I'm fine. I'm
Right,
good.
right.
Don't worry about it. Like,
But keep asking
you
shows
know,
that you care at least.
yeah,
There's like a fine line though, right?
yeah. Yeah, don't ask too much. But also, I kind of thinking that guys just don't like to talk about their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you think it's partially, and sorry to interrupt, but
no,
like,
go ahead.
do you think it's partially like I don't even know if this is a phrase, but like a superhero mentality type of thing
Probably,
where,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, okay. Cause yeah, I'm always curious about that. Cause as a woman, as a mom, like I will tell everybody everything,
sure,
just very open. But my husband's the complete opposite and just like doesn't really want to talk about things. And he's like, I have to be, I have to be on all the time. I have to be, the support person and whatever. And I'm like, but you don't, we can like work together and we can talk about things. But I'm just like, guys are just so different sometimes. And I'm just very fascinated by
right.
it.
Well, I think deep down, every man wants to be a superhero for sure,
Yeah.
like a real superhero, and
Yeah.
then they want to be the superhero of their family as well, for
Yeah.
sure.
So with that part of it, do you think that that can prevent people from sharing at times? Like because they don't because it almost appears as a weakness, I guess. If
Yep,
they
yep,
talk about yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And I think guys are going to do that more often. They're not going to tell you
Mhm.
their feelings. But yeah, we definitely want to be superheroes.
So in the dad community, what have you been seeing? You've been getting all these comments and questions and stuff. What have you been seeing within the dad community when it comes to their struggles and dealing with that?
Right. So I've seen a lot of grateful dads, and a ton of grateful dads. They just want to say thank you for your post. Like they're inspiring me to be better, to try something different.
Love that.
Yeah, no, it's like it's been awesome. There's like so many just thankful dads, and there has been some really struggling dads.
Mhm. I saw that.
And I honestly like the only thing I respond to them and I ask them questions like, how old are your kids? Where do you guys live? I just keep a conversation going with them. Like some of them are really struggling, and
Mhm.
it's hard to see that, or it's hard to hear that. And then the other thing that I've come across, and I want to make more videos about this, is that a lot of dads have said that they struggle with keeping their wives first above their kids. And I totally get that
Mhm.
because you focus so hard on trying to be this dad for your children, and it takes all your time and energy away from someone that started it all. And I've seen that question many times. They're like, how do you, like, what should we do? And I'm like, we have to put the effort in. You have to make that effort that is not just like given. It's not just like it's easier to be a dad because those kids are just coming to you all the time, but you have to go to your wife, you have to go to your spouse to make that work.
All right, friends, if any of this resonated with you so far today, make sure to spread the word or share it with a friend. All right, so we did get a couple of listener questions. One was from Birth Trauma Stories podcast, and she wanted to know, how can I support my husband who may be struggling?
Ask him how he's doing. Don't expect to get an answer from him. Yeah, no, it's more like, how was your day? What can we do? What do you want to do? Where do you want to
Mhm.
go? Like, do you want to go on a date? Do you want to go hang out with the guys? Like
That's
that
actually a really good point.
alone time away from the family. I mean,
Mm. No, I like that because it's like they're struggling, so you're taking time out of your day because moms get caught up in mom stuff, dads get caught up in dad stuff.
right,
So if the dad is struggling and you see that, hey, what do you need, like what, because it may not always be to talk. Maybe you need to, yeah, like you said, go out with friends. Maybe there's some way that you can make them feel special.
right,
I like that. All these things I'm using for myself as well.
right. And you don't know, like, what are they struggling with? Are they struggling with their job? Are they
Right.
struggling with their home? Are they struggling with the kids? With are you struggling with your wife?
Right.
There's so much, like everybody deals with this. There's so many different things it could be. So you have to find something that helps you both relax, you know?
Mhm. I like that.
Did you ever see did you ever see that quote online that like 98% of men will never get flowers until their funeral? Have you heard that?
Whoa. No, I haven't.
It might even be like 99%.
Whoa.
My wife has given me flowers a couple times.
Aw. Really? How
Yeah,
did it make you feel?
I think it's really cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
I think it's just because at some point in my life, I think I mentioned it to her. I'm like, why is it on us to give flowers to girls? Like, how
Yeah.
come we don't ever give flowers?
Right.
And then so I had that mentality for a while, and she's given me flowers every couple of years or so.
Aw,
Um,
I like that.
and and then I saw that quote, and I'm like,
Wow.
yes, I made it. I'm in
Yeah.
there. And then I saw somewhere, instead of flowers, if you don't think your guy wants flowers, get him a 6 pack of beer or something like
Yeah.
that, you know?
It's true. I've never I've never given my husband flowers, but I actually do think that he would enjoy that.
Try it. Give it a try. Who
I would.
knows?
I will.
I mean, if anything, it'll be silly, but he'll still appreciate, like, I've never gotten flowers before in my life.
I'm definitely going to do that. Hopefully he won't listen to this
Yeah,
first. I'll have
don't
to do that
listen.
beforehand. And then there was one from your friend. Is it fries on the side or phrase?
Ha. Make sure you leave that in there so he hears that. It's fries.
Fries. Okay.
Fries. Old phrase on the side.
I was like, I assume it's fries on the side, but like, I don't want to screw it up.
I would assume that. It's a good point.
All right. So from fries dot on the side asked, how have dads changed in this generation from our dad's generations? And have they?
I feel like from my experience, my dad was definitely the dad that went to work and my mom stayed home and raised us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty good childhood if you're lucky enough to have that. But when my dad got home, he was there. Like he wanted to play, he wanted to hang out with us. And that kind of stayed with me for, obviously forever. So I think the good dads haven't changed. The good
Mm-hmm.
dads are always there. The only thing is that some dads now are able to stay home more. And that's the thing that's changed. And that's been kind of cool.
Definitely. Yeah, due to remote or
Yeah.
whatever. Or just the woman's working and the man's staying home.
Yeah.
And it's definitely becoming more so the case now. I know multiple stay at home dads, and I think it's just the coolest thing.
Right.
Our generation has that flexibility
Right.
to be with our
Exactly. Yeah.
kids more and be more involved. That was
Yep.
very cool.
I mean, I've heard stories about how my grandpa would use a belt to,
Oh, yeah.
like that's changed. Hardly anybody ever does that now. But,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's probably sadly there's still people that do that. In my experience, I guess I'm very lucky to have a good dad that,
Mm-hmm.
if he could have stayed home more, he probably would have. And now, like you said, our generation has more of that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't go for everybody because I feel like a lot of people have to work more.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to put your priorities in line at some point.
All right. So, in this generation, what can we do as moms and dads to help more with the dad struggles?
So I think dads need to understand that they can open up a little bit. That'll do so much. You don't have to worry about losing your superpowers.
Still manly to speak
Yeah,
up.
yeah, it is. If you have a wife that's there and loves you and wants to support you, she's not going to say nothing. She's going to help you because you know that you want the same for your wife.
Right.
You would do the same. So open up to the possibility of talking a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a good supportive partner isn't going to judge and like genuinely wants to hear, even if it's not something that wants to be talked about all the time. Like, we're not going to judge. We're not going to look down on you or think you're less manly because of it.
My wife compliments me all the time. Like
Mm.
she goes out of her way to say, "Oh, you look nice today." I feel like it comes naturally to her, but like she just is so complimentary all the time, and it's
Aw.
not the same for me. I feel like I'm looking ahead. I'm like, are the kids' lunches packed? Are the
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just not there. And even though she says that, and I'm like, okay, whatever, like I kind of brush it off, but it does help. It does.
Yeah.
It does make a difference in my life.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's something I need to get better at for sure too. I'm like you, I'm like, head down, like tasks, got to get stuff done. It's so hard to balance everything. truly for both sides. I mean, both parents, it's very hard.
100% you need to put limits and put your phones away, because if your attention's not where it needs to be, if it's not with the one that you love, it's wasted sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. All right, David, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me. Again, we mentioned this in the last one, but we'll do it again since it's a whole new episode. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on social media. I'm trying to be everywhere. So if you have a platform, I'll probably be there.
And you're at Not Perfect Dad, like the shirt.
Yep.
All right, friends, let me know what was your favorite part of the episode today. I'd love to hear about it. Leave us a comment below and let us know your thoughts. If you like this episode, I think you're really going to like this one too.